So welcome, and I'm so grateful to be here with you this afternoon. We are here at the DoubleTree by Hilton talking to the pageants in the Miss Iowa Scholarship Program as well as the pageant. Thank you for your time, and we're going to get right into it. So, of course, up first we have Miss Chastity, and we're going to ask you, what's it like being involved in the Miss Iowa pageant in 2025?
It is definitely a transformational experience. I started competing in 2018, and here we are 7 years later. Not only have I grown in professional development skills, I've met amazing women who we've been able to laugh together, grow together, but also earn scholarships. And this is a scholarship organization. I've earned over $11,000 to apply to my education as I'm becoming a teacher.
Oh, wonderful.
But also we're service-based, and so it's been an amazing experience being in this organization.
Do you think that it's something that you'd like to continue beyond your pageant opportunities, I guess we should call it?
I would. This is my last year of eligibility.
Okay.
But everything that you learn in this program, you can carry on with you. And so I would like to come back as part of a board, maybe in Cedar Rapids. But either way, I would love to still be a part of this program.
Awesome. Thank you for chiming in. May I have you pass it to Sydney Seymour, please?
Yes.
How you doing today?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. When I first walked in, I noticed you have a very outgoing, extrovert kind of personality.
Thank you.
But in terms of the pageant, what's something that you really enjoy in terms of your personal interest and why you stick around and do the amazing work you're doing?
Thank you. So this is my first ever time doing a pageant. So it's my rookie year. And so to me, it's a learning experience. And these women right here, sitting here, they have helped me and they've given me beautiful constructed criticism, and they just continue to help me out through the process and make me feel so welcome, so inclusive, and so comfortable. The one thing I really like about the Miss Iowa Scholarship Program is it's very diverse and it's very inclusive. And that is some of the values that I carry with me, especially in my profession. I'm currently trying to pursue my doctorate degree at Palmer, and I have learned a lot there. I've learned to swallow my pride because we all come in with a certain attitude, and we have to learn to be humble and to be kind to people instead of it being a competition of who's going to pass their classes, who's going to do this. Right. It's all about swallowing your pride, being genuine, being humble and kind, and this also carries over to the Miss Iowa Scholarship Program.
I think that's amazing, and kudos too, going into chiropractic care. It's a field that people don't necessarily understand the dedication that it takes. It's not the typical route in life. I love my chiro, so
yes, don't worry.
I might be a little biased, you know what I'm saying?
I got your back.
Okay, literally.
Yes.
That was good.
Yes.
Yes. And so we're going to have you pass it over to Ms. Juliana.
Awesome.
Did I say that correct?
Yes, you did.
Okay, and so what I noticed first about you is that you have a very stupendous smile. And what I would imagine being in the pageant world can have some challenging moments. Being that you've been around it for a little while, what do you do during those challenging moments to navigate kind of the landmines that happen in any world of competition?
Yeah, so this is my first year competing as a Miss.
Oh.
I've been at the state competition for 4 years now, but taking it in a little different way this time. Something that's really helped me has been my sisters around me, especially Lizzie here. We all get to have a roommate throughout the week.
Gotcha.
And it can really be a blessing at times because when you come after interview and you're so excited, your interview went well and you want to share it with your best friend, or maybe, you're feeling a little down and you just want to vent about something, having your sisters right there with you throughout the week really helps me bring me up and keep a smile on my face.
What do you do with the girl that's got the stank attitude? How do you guys help her? Not that we're picking anybody out, by gosh, no. But what do you do? How do you encourage them to kind of find their footing and get back to feeling good?
Sometimes it could come from a little unsureness, when you don't know exactly how something works. And all of us have done a wonderful job of picking each other up and helping each other with literally anything we need. Some people may look at us as each other's competitors, but I don't think any of us here really look at each other like that in any way. I mean, we're competing together, not against each other.
Yes.
So it really just helps bring a positive energy all throughout the week.
Well, I hope that when people see this after the fact, that they can really take that idea and champion that, because as women, I think we're pitted against each other societally for sure. And then when you talk about beauty and standards and expectations, being that you all do literally have your own unique looks and beauty, I could imagine that there's times where you're almost challenging the stigma by just doing what you're doing and showing up as your individual self. So I commend you for that. Thanks for your answers, Ms. Hartland. We're going to have you pass it over to Alexis, please. And this is in no specific order, but as you can probably gather. So my question for you then is, being that you are, I would say, a little seasoned in the competition, is that fair to say?
Yeah.
A little,
Yeah.
a little
I've been around the organization since I was probably 7 years old, but
So you have
I've only competed around, this is my 4th year, so.
So that kind of changes my question. When you say you were around it, how did you find yourself involved in the pageantry world as young as 7, and what was the motivation for you and your family to stick around?
So I'm a baton twirler, and I've been twirling since I was 6 years old. And my first ever coach, Diana Reed, was actually Miss Iowa 2009, I want to say. Yep. And I actually went and watched her at Miss America. And that was in Las Vegas that year. And it kind of just, it was that little girl wow moment where I was like, I want to be just like her. And she actually was a baton twirler for the University of Iowa, which led not only, so she inspired me to join this organization, but she also inspired me to twirl for college. So I twirled for Iowa State University. And
That
so
is so
it started
cool.
back
Like
then.
I'm trying to contain my enthusiasm, but I felt like when I was young, those were kind of like the cheap toys, but they had the biggest thrill. And so I pride myself with having a little bit of that skill. I'm 45 though, so you don't hear much about people doing that specific thing. So I just say that's awesome, and I'm sure it's a unique experience too.
Absolutely. And since I've graduated college, being able to compete and perform through the Miss Iowa opportunity is something that's really special to me, to be able to continue my sport. I'm also a coach, so some of my students are coming to watch, and it
That's
just
awesome.
fills my heart to be able to inspire the next generation of baton twirlers.
Well, thank you so much for your chiming in. Continue to twirl, girl.
I
And
will,
pass it-
I will.
We're going to pass it on to Miss Tanglewood, please. And
Sure.
then tell me your first name again.
Lydia.
That's right, Miss
Yes.
Lydia. So I had asked before, kind of who had been around and who's an OG. That would consider you being that.
Yes.
So other than just focusing on the years in, tell me how's Miss Iowa changed in your mind, and in your experience, was it beneficial to make some of those changes?
So I actually started my first involvement with the Miss America Scholarship Program when there was still a youth portion. So I was served as Little Miss Iowa and Junior Miss Iowa, which were little sister programs exactly to Teen and Miss. So when you say that these girls that are standing here really are life-changing, they seriously are. I remember sitting in the audience and having my crown and sash on, being like, that one day that will be me. And I think there's a lot of us. Brittany is one of them. We competed in teen together. I watched Juliana get crowned. So many of the girls have just been in the program, and I think we've all experienced some of that shift of mindset that the Miss America opportunity has gone through, whether that is with language that we're using to be more inclusive, or just to have a better branding of what this ambassadorship really is, because we are in a world of ever-changing empowerment for young women.
Right.
We are in a very transitional spot that Miss America needs to be that light. She needs to be that girl that is inclusive for all young women, whether you are in an underserved community or you're in the state capitol. Every girl belongs on this stage. It is all scholarship dollars that we are receiving. We touch none of the money. And I'm grateful enough to have graduated debt-free. I know we are all using those scholarship dollars, and it's not something that it's not a princess show. It's not a queen. We are servant leaders, and any girl belongs on that stage if you're wanting to be educated and get involved in your community.
I love that term, servant leadership, because in my graduate program, that's what I focused on. Graduate studies really allowed me to open my mind to the concept of being a leader through my service work. So I commend you for just, elevating that thought in itself. As far as the current Miss Iowa, Abby, do you have a relationship with her? How do you, and I don't want you to feel like it's where you have to be politically correct or incorrect. I guess I'm just saying, do you feel she served well? Do you feel like some of the things you talked about, does she encompass those things for the program?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I actually just met Abby for the first time last year
Okay.
when we competed against one another, and I'm privileged enough to share that final moment on stage with her when she had her crowning moment.
Oh,
and
yes.
it's been very inspirational for me, because especially we are as much as we say we are sisters and we are with one another and we compete together, there is a level of competitiveness. So in order for all of us to throw ourselves into the Miss Iowa's reign, we are her backing. And I think that as a sisterhood, we are all able to do that, and Miss Iowa Abby has done an amazing job at encompassing what all of our wishes are, and
Maybe those core values.
those
even.
core values
Yeah.
of what we bring to Miss Iowa Week. She's just exudes throughout her year of service, and she's been able to work as a student athlete, as an ambassador for Miss Iowa. She represented us beautifully at Miss America, all while being a college student, and then after her graduation, still continuing to serve the state.
She's definitely a multitasker.
Yes, she is. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for your explanation of things and just that transparency. I think that's something, for me on the other side of this as a media agent, I want to make sure that I'm digging beneath the surface, so to speak, and talking about what's important to you all, what matters to you as the group of people that we're, talking with. So we're going to actually have you pass to Miss Great River. And my question for you is, what is your, I don't know, I don't want to say favorite part about like the beauty element, but is there how about I say it like this? When you're not being Miss Iowa ready, what are you like? What do you dress like? Or are you always a glam girl? Because you know what I mean? People kind of look at you all and think that you're always put together. I'm a mess sometimes. So what's it like to be a part of this program when you're having some days off?
So I'd say a solid 40 to 50 hours of the week I'm in my work uniform.
Okay.
I do work a lot, but
Okay.
I am also a full-time student at Scott Community College in Bettendorf, Iowa. So I wouldn't say I'm not glammed up for that either.
Okay.
Just like sweatpants, jeans, leggings. We don't have to be fully glammed up, even for small appearances as well.
Yeah.
I don't have my hair fully curled. I don't have a full face of makeup. It's just going out and being out in the community and just being who we want to be and what we want to wear. Part of the Miss America opportunity, one of our pillars is style.
Okay.
So whether that's the style of how we start, like our actual style of what we wear, our style of our platform, just being our creative selves. So yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Do you ever have the temptation to just put your crown on, or just put your sash on, or is it a little bit more, as you guys mentioned, about respect and where you are in the moment?
So there are definitely events that I've gone to where I don't need the crown and sash, but I'll definitely put it on, because why not put it on?
That's right.
But yeah, in terms of like respect, when I also have competed in the Miss Illinois organization. So when you go there, you just wouldn't wear a crown, you just wear a sash, so people are able to see who you are. But yeah, it's usually when like someone of higher authorities there, you don't wear your crown. Okay,
that's interesting to know that. Well, thank you for your participation, and don't work too much while you're young, okay? You got enough of that lies ahead of you, but I value a hard work ethic as well. So I'll have you pass it right next to Ms. Riverview, please. Yes, so Ms. Riverview, how are you today?
Great.
You're doing good.
Thank you.
So call me out if I'm wrong. You seem a little shy.
I'm a little shy.
Yeah. Maybe not amongst great friends, right?
Oh, yeah.
But so what inspires you to be a part of the Miss Iowa pageant? And tell me something that maybe people don't know about being a contestant in this pageant.
Yeah, so actually I started out working tech for pageants. Both my dad and my grandfather have done tech for pageants for as I can remember.
Oh.
So I started out doing sound, and I actually did Spotlight for Miss Missouri, and so I've been behind the scenes for a lot. So actually last year was my very first time being on stage and being like in the pageant, and it was really exciting, and I was really nervous because I've only ever seen the girls from backstage,
Right?
in the dark,
Okay.
from the side.
That's different, yes.
So getting to like really actually like be a part and in the middle of the program with these wonderful people and really inspiring women has just been really cool to see it from a completely different perspective, because seeing them on stage and being backstage to support them was really cool, but now being able to like really see what it's like behind the scenes on the other side,
Right, what
is
they go through.
really beautiful.
Yeah. I think that's wonderful. And the other question was, tell me one thing maybe, and you kind of did touch on that people don't know about being involved in the pageant world.
I think that there's so much that you don't see. a lot of people just see what's on stage, what's in front of the camera, what we like to post out there, but there's a lot that we don't see.
Yeah.
And I think that we're such amazing people on and off the stage, and we're constantly doing everything, and we have school that we go to, and we have work that we go to, and everybody's attitude is just really amazing, and we've got some really amazing souls here.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people don't see what really goes on off the stage, but that's just as important as what's on the stage.
I love that. Yeah, I think people literally just focus on that you're pretty. And that's and that we're so much more than what we appear to be on the surface of things. However, because it's a beauty pageant, that's just what people's train of thought's going to be. So my hope is that when people get a chance to watch this, they'll watch it again and again to really listen to what your answers were about, and you know, the diversity. I can't speak to that enough, but not just so much in appearance, but also just personalities, all walks of life, different backgrounds and different experiences. I got one more question. I'm going to actually put it to Miss Golden Circle. Am I reading it right? Okay, I'm going to have you chime in there. Pass the mic. So you have curly hair.
I do.
How did hair and being a brown girl impact you and your experience in the pageant world?
When I was 13, one of my first articles that I actually became an author of was called I Love My Hair, and it talked about the journey of falling in love with my hair in its natural state. I went to a predominantly white school district. I was one of 5 black people in my entire school, and as you can imagine, I didn't have the hair that looked like theirs, and I didn't love it. And then on top of that, only people I've seen had relaxed hair.
Right.
And so it really took a dive. I, at one point, remember I shaved my head at night because I just hated my hair. And so when I joined the pageant world, I made sure that one thing I was not going to do was straighten my hair. And I've had people tell me I should. I've had so many people tell me your hair's too big, I can't see around it, it's too much, and
They touch it without permission?
Oh, yeah, that
yeah,
too.
I got a curly girl for a daughter, so I get it, yeah.
But what inspired me was we had a Miss Iowa 2018. Her name is Michaela, and she was the first Miss Iowa and one of the first actually in the nation to wear her curly hair at Miss America. And she inspired a movement that made sure that I would never, ever transform who I am, because this is who I am 90% of the time. When my students see me, they don't ever see straight hair, you know, they just see who I am. And I made sure that regardless, any appearance I make sure to go straight to the girls with curly hair first, to make sure that they know that their hair is beautiful and that I see them and that I want them to continue to be who they are.
Absolutely. See, I sensed some of that. That was that mom in me. But no, I think, you know, it's such a unique time in our world and in culture as women. We don't got to make it about the shade that we fit into, right? We're all different shades of beauty and light. And the thing about hair is it is such a unique self-expression that it's inappropriate to tell someone what looks best or better for them. That should be a decision that they make for themselves. Like this beautiful girl with this ponytail right here. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just one of those things where I think we're getting to a better place about it, but I value your honesty because that's very personal. And you keep championing that change because more people need to embrace the reality that brown girls struggle with the hair situation. I just coached at the collegiate level, and I was a wellness coach as well as a track and field coach. And one of the biggest struggles that we had was some of our brown girls were coming late to 6 a.m. practice, and the people who were not in that same category felt like we were giving them special treatment by excusing their delay. But what they didn't know was I got a text at 5:14 that said, I woke up, my scarf had came off, my hair is jacked up. I am not coming to practice with my hair like this. I'm gonna be late. So I had to explain to my male head coach, this is not an excuse. This is a legit thing. You have to feel your best. You have to show up as you really feel you're most confident, even to practice. And so you also mentioned Michaela. So I'm gonna give you a little secret. The gentleman that's responsible for this behind the scenes interview and opportunity is her dad. He wanted to highlight all of you all in the work that you're putting in and what happens in reality behind the scenes, and how important it is to have a support system, whatever that looks like for each of you uniquely. Is there anyone I didn't talk to?
Thank you, Thomas Hughes.
Yes, thank you, Tom. I didn't speak to you. Did I speak to you? You no? Okay, so since you're right there, we'll give it to Ms. Clinton. Can I ask that as my last question? I never stick to the script. Tell us a little bit just about who you are. What's your background? How'd you get in this whole world of beauty and stuff?
I started actually, my first experience with a Miss Iowa was 2000, Olivia Baker. She's was Olivia Myers back in the day, and she actually went to my school in Mediapolis, Iowa, which is a small town just north of Burlington. And she came to my school, and she said she was Miss Iowa at the time on her way to Miss America. And I remember seeing her on the stage. We had a big assembly for her. It was very, very exciting as a fourth grader, as you can imagine. You know, girl with a crown that dances, and it was just sparkly. And I imagined that that's what the little girls next to us think about. And that's part of the huge part of this program is mentorship. And so I was looking at Olivia. She said, "Do you want to see me dance?" So I got to see your talent on stage, and I thought, you know, maybe I want to do that someday. But it wasn't until many, many years later that I actually took that step. It was my hometown local in 2021. And I was 22, 23 at the time. Years passed really fast. So I was about that age at the time, and I thought, you know what, I want to do this because I think at the time I'd kind of lost a part of myself, and I needed that outlet of performance. I'm an arts advocate, I'm a musician, I'm a violinist, and I needed to feel connected to myself again. And not only did the Miss Iowa Scholarship Organization bring me back to who I am and to discover this better version of myself, but also to be part of something that's bigger than just yourself. And so if you need that outlet of service, I don't think people realize how much service can do for someone personally. It's not only me being able to give back, it's me discovering parts of myself that are so passionate about different topics, not only my own initiative, but all these women that are here right now have their own initiatives that we're so passionate about, and so we pour into each other as kind of a unit, but we're also individuals, and we embrace that.
Well, Autumn, you said that. Like, I don't have a follow-up for you. But no, genuinely, thank you. And I didn't realize that you could come into the competition at, you said 22?
I was 22. So thankfully, they've raised the age limit so that we are allowing women who are somewhere, you know, at various places
Young
in their
adults,
school or their
yeah.
careers, young adults. And we've embraced that. And so thankfully, I've been able to do this as a full-time working professional. I work in workforce development down in Southeast Iowa, and so there's a lot of diversity, not only in backgrounds but in personalities, and I think it all just works well, and it's one whole organization that embraces a lot of different opportunities, I think, for young women.
I think that that is impressive, that you can encapsulate it. I don't know if you got a career in journalism also, but you nailed that, so we're going to pass it back. Please, I can't see your sash. There you go, Miss Mississippi Valley. So what do you do when you're not in the pageant world? Are you an athlete of some kind? What do you do?
So I'm a dancer.
Okay, you got the athlete look, yes.
Thank you. I'm a dancer. I'm a dance teacher.
Okay.
I work with kids in a lot of different capacities. I'm also a daycare teacher, and I love working with our younger generations just because I had such strong role models growing up, and I want to be that for that generation as well.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Do you feel like this experience just naturally enhances the things you're passionate about, and how so?
Absolutely. I actually started the organization with a different CSI about blood donation, which I'm still super passionate about, but because of the sisterhood and the community that I have here, I was able to embrace a new CSI about sexual violence and mental illness.
It's all right. Emotions are important to share. It is important to share.
So this community just really helps girls step into their own, and wow.
It's okay.
I told her I've been crying so much this week.
Yeah. It's emotional. It's a lot, and when you're sharing your truth, emotions come to the surface because that's just your passion spilling out through your eyes, and never be ashamed of that, because that vulnerability that you're showing will allow the next person, which is the goal, to be in their truth and to step into their purpose. Yes?
She said it better than I did. She did.
I got a few things right.
She took it from here and put it out there.
But is that kind of the point
yes,
you
no,
were?
absolutely.
Yep.
This sisterhood really just helps you step into your own as a person and discover your true passions, and give you a platform to express those to people, and it's just been amazing. Yeah.
Sounds like a priceless, very unique life-changing, I think I heard the word transformational experience, and I love that you all have something that keeps you going and inspired to be a part of it. And I can't wait to see these faces somewhere out in the world doing amazing things. But we thank you so much for your time and giving us these amazing interviews. Did we miss somebody?
I think most of us.
Oh, I didn't see you not raise your hand. We're good? We're take it there? We're going to keep going then. I thought I had to wrap it up. Okay, so we don't. No. But seriously, I think, Ms. Polk County, you said you have been involved for 15 years?
Yeah,
Yes.
15.
So starting out when you were 5, just kidding. How old were you when you kind of came into it, and what do you feel has been pivotal in terms of keeping your interest and making it good for you to stay here?
Yeah, I started when I was 8 years old at the Miss Clinton County competition, and I just absolutely fell in love with the sisterhood, like we've talked a lot about, but I also fell in love with the outlet of service. That is one of my top values, as well as community, and like we kind of touched on, we all have our individual community service initiative, and mine is Watersheds Think Global Act Local. So I advocate for clean water, bringing people together on both sides of the aisle and with different backgrounds to come together for our common goal of clean water and making sure that everyone has access to that. And I've been able to pour my heart and soul into that. It's my career. It's my biggest passion. I've done 4,300 hours of service towards it, and I've published a book. I've gone into schools, gone to the Capitol, gone to the federal Capitol, and it's things like that that keep me going and make me so grateful to the Miss America opportunity and to Miss Iowa, because it's given me that opportunity to do those things.
That is very inspiring. We were just talking about the importance of water quality. I'm from a small town called Rock Island. They have struggled forever with water quality. Yeah, you don't drink town water unless you... Oh, Milan for certain. No diss to those amazing counties or the families that live in them, but that is a concern when you live off the Mississippi, what's in that water. So thank you for continuing to care and to inspire other people to realize that it is important that we think about the source of things and how we're contributing to the better versus being a part of the problem. Being solution driven, how does that impact you in competition?
Yeah. So in competition, the solution drivenness that really helps me is honestly, this is kind of a roundabout answer, but I take that solution drivenness into, like, I have a dress that doesn't always zip all the way, and so like having all of these intelligent minds to come together to help me zip up my dress.
How are we gonna get this dress up?
Especially this year, because we only have a limited time in between our talent and our evening gown portion. So that has been at the top of my mind this entire week, is how am I gonna get into this dress with only a couple of minutes? And luckily we all are intelligent people and come together and support ourselves. So we are able to work together to, solve the world's problems.
But
honestly.
you know, it's funny to us though, but as women, it's kind of like how many people to screw in the light bulb. You'd be surprised,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got somebody to stabilize the ladder, the person who's not afraid to climb up there, make sure the light switch is turned off before I let it go. So, as women, I think you, from very small, become problem solvers and doers and thinkers and on the spot problem solvers. And so when you get involved with organizations that accelerate that skill or encourage you to be that way, I mean, that's a win-win for everybody, because women make change, and that's what we need us here to do. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to pass it to, I think, our last Miss Scott County. So Miss Scott County, tell me something that we haven't touched on that is important to know or bring to light about being in this amazing organization.
I think just the opportunities that this really brings to people and the connections that you make along the way. Just last March, I was able to host a fundraiser 5K through the Scott County organization and raise over $1,500 in scholarships. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without the Miss America platform and the connections that I made through this. And not just with my platform making that 5K, but just with our entire organization overall, just those connections that make it possible for you to make that sort of thing happen is just truly just inspirational, and it wouldn't be possible anywhere else. So it's truly amazing.
That's wonderful. I want y'all to give yourself a nice little gentle clap for yourself. You did wonderful. This was very unplanned. So thank you for being, uber professional and wearing those amazing smiles. And you guys have just like the kindest eyes. And I think that, being appreciated for your beauty is one thing, but elevating other women and causes that are so unique to each one of your lives and experiences is an amazing life's work for such a young group of people. So if no one else told you, you're all that, know that, and be confident in what you're doing, because sometimes confidence is key to inspiring the next person who doesn't have that same opportunity. We're gonna leave it right there. We done.